All right, while we're waiting for everybody, just a quick little disclaimer that this is for educational and instructional purposes only. We're simply demonstrating a method of using the product, and we will be getting started in just a few seconds. Saba, I'm from Macedonia, or North Macedonia as it is right now, currently in California. Quick little snippet here, guys. If you're on a computer and you want to scan the QR code here, that'll take you to our website, which is tradewithufos.com. And of course, the software that we're using, everything that we will be demonstrating today will be available there. So feel free to go ahead and scan that, and it'll be for your use. All right, as far as the agenda for today, we're going to look at the current market environment. We don't have any trades to review right now, mainly because I've been traveling for the past month and we haven't really traded anything in a month, at least in FX Street here. We don't have any open positions to manage, therefore we will solely focus on new opportunities and executing those opportunities the right way. All right, so without much more further ado, I think that's more than enough time to get everybody settled in. Let's pull up TradingView. And if you're looking at this and you're thinking, whoa, this is a lot of stuff, well, let's start it one thing at a time. The first thing that you might see here down below is a chart of the 4-hour Japanese yen, dollar yen chart on TradingView. Doesn't matter what broker you're using, the concept will be similar. We're looking to be trading, Forex or crypto today, preferably both, as we'd like to be exposed to market movement on both sides. The way we utilize the tools that you see in front of you is the following. The below chart is indicating us the market that we want to trade, and it needs to give us permission to even go and proceed and look at the charts above. Right? It's a very much a permission-based type of system. If certain criteria is not met, then we just don't look anywhere else. We just focus on this bottom chart here before we even look at the upper charts here. So the first one that we see right now is the dollar yen that's currently loaded. That is, as you see right here, you'll see that we have an indicator loaded that may not be typical to your TradingView. If you want to get access to this indicator, it's actually free on our website, tradewithufos.com. I'm just going to share it here with you. And then you can go to /Bojan right there. I just shared it with everybody. Oops, I'm sorry. I just shared it with the host and presenter. Let me change this to everyone. There you go. This will get you access to the auto climate itself, which the auto climate gives you what you see down here below the chart on the bottom. What this represents is a couple of things. It is a sensitive to price movement, as each market, as we know, moves differently. The first thing that it gives us is the direction of the market, whether we should be looking to long or go short, or if we should be looking elsewhere for an opportunity. In this scenario, we see that it is colored blue. The auto climate is blue in color. However, we also see there are some numbers up here right now as well. We see that the current standard deviation up with the arrow pointing up is 8.23. The standard deviation down is 4.51, and current count is 9. All right, so that means that this market has been going up for 9 4-hour increments. All right, so 9 4-hour increments, and it typically goes up 8.23. Now, just to keep this simple, we're going to go ahead and round these up as well. So this is a 9, and it goes down for 5, right? We're going to round that down as well, and that goes down to 5. We're always going to round up. I understand 8.23 rounded would be 8, but we're going to round up it always because we want to give as much time to a climate to work as compared to just, being mathematically accurate. So we always want to err on the side of giving a climate more time rather than less. So as of right now, we see that we're currently on the 9th 4-hour increment out of typically 9. So we may be a little bit, late to the party here on the dollar yen 4-hour time frame, right? So we're going to go ahead and analyze it. We still should have some time to let this develop. As you see here, it still has 3 hours and 50 minutes until this becomes the 10th down climate out of typically 9, which means it will go past the point where this has a higher probability. All right, so now that we've established that we do have something to look at, the next step of the process in this scenario here would be to look at, okay, well, if price is where it is right now, and as you see, I'm not showing the actual price here because I'm not too concerned of the exactness of it. I'm actually concerned more about its relative closeness to the auto UFOs, which is the second part of the package here that we have, is how close is current price to any auto UFOs that will show on this chart. And we see that they're very, very far away, right? The nearest one is actually all the way down here, 139.82 to 138.053. That means we don't have anything in our way that is more than fine to be our final target. Of course, there's certain rules and certain requirements to, manage a trade that I will try to go into as we develop this trade. I'll explain it as we go along. So as of right now, though, we do know that, so we do have a trade that we would like to look at on the upper charts as well. We just need to realize and understand that, the bottom chart cleared. We have the go ahead, right, to go ahead and start looking at these upper charts for potential entry. Right, so it's very, at least to me, when I was starting off with trading, is I was always getting a little paralyzed when it came to executing these trades in a proper way. I would bounce around all the charts, waste my time, and then finally realize, like, hey, I don't even have a trade here. What am I doing? All right, so right now, just from a visual perspective, we have a confirmed climate. It's not past the point of sensibility, and we don't have any obstacles in our way, right? There's no UFOs here, which are the auto UFOs, is the proprietary and patented technology that we have, that we utilize for potential entries and exits. So again, that's those flying saucers that you see up here, right? And the one that we showed down below here, right? There, these guys, they could be 4 different colors. Those are where our potential entries and exits are. Those are where the potential unfilled orders are. And the reason why we care about what those unfilled orders are is because that's where we want to be. We want to be where there's additional leftover potential unfilled orders by bigger players, rather than always chasing filled orders, which is the representation of the price graph itself. All right. So to put this all together, combining the auto UFOs and the auto climate, we're going to look to see if there's a place where we could enter to, and interestingly enough, there's actually no red UFOs above. That means the skies are clear. So the only thing that I would say right now is, because we're looking to go long, since there are no red UFOs anywhere up here, that means the skies are clear. Therefore, we don't have any sort of obstacles. We can just trail stop our targets. Okay. Right now, we're going to be looking to go long, and we also utilize, right, so these two indicators that I mentioned, the auto climate and the auto UFOs, those are our own indicators, right? Those are not readily available to anybody. You would have to sign up with our platform to get access to them. However, we want to, while that gives us an edge, we also want to know where there might be potential orders that common indicators give us. and a common indicator such as the 9 exponential moving average, which is represented by this blue line here, right? The 9 EMA gives us that information. So we see that the current market price of the EMA is 143,777. That's where it's currently represented at. And what we want to know now is, do we have an ally UFO to our climate? Right? Our climate is blue. That means we're looking for long. Do we have a green UFO where that EMA is enveloped in? And when I say enveloped, I mean the current price when it touches a UFO, will the 9 exponential moving average be inside? All right, so that's what we need to figure out here. Give me just a second so I can mute some stuff here so it doesn't bug me. There we go. So we're looking to see if this 9 exponential moving average will be enveloped when price touches this UFO, for example. Well, current moving average is right here, 143,777. And we also see it here as well, 143,777. So yes, absolutely. Price will be enveloped in this scenario here. So therefore, we have a potential setup. So let's go ahead and execute on it. All right. Once I set this trade up and everything is clear on the screen, please feel free to type any questions that you may have so that I can see them as we're setting this up, as it might be easier once you see it rather than just talking about the whole time. All right. So the first thing that we do, we're going to go ahead and put in the 144,841. Now, where do we get this number from? Well, right here, the auto UFO is right there, 143,841. I don't know why I got 4 from her. 143,841. Or you could utilize this number, 143,840. In either case, in either scenario, either one is fine. I'm going to use the one that's a little bit more aggressive. So 841. Now we're going to go ahead and do a stop loss and a take profit. Now, because the Forex markets are decentralized, not all of us have the same exact, PIP information. You may have a little bit of a variance to what I have, and I may have a little bit of a variance to what you have. So what we've also put together is a fairly simple scenario where, because there are multiple brokers out there and because different brokers give you different type of information, even though they may be using a similar liquidity provider. For example, what I have on Oanda as 143,841, if you were to connect it with another broker, this information may be a little bit different. So to account for that, and to account for the fact that Forex markets are decentralized, we utilize something of this scenario here, where whenever we're buying the entry, we're going to round it up and we're going to add 2 pips. When we're buying also our stop, we're going to round it down and we're going to add 5 pips for the stop. And then for the target, we're going to do similar something. We're going to round it down of the opposing common time frame UFO and take away 2 pips. Now in this scenario, because we do not have an opposing UFO on this bottom time frame, we're going to skip this step, right? Because we don't have a final target. That means we're just going to keep trailing this until it stops us out. All right. So as of right now, we're going to round up and add 2 pips. We're going to round down and add, take away 5 pips for the stop. Now, given that this is the dollar yen, it's a little bit different. There's not as many decimal places as these other pairs, right? So we're just going to keep things the way they are right now. Okay. Given $150 per leg is the typical whenever we trade these sessions. Our take profit is always going to be a 1-to-1. But before we decide that, we need to figure out where our stop is. So as we see on this one, the stop is 663. All right. On this one, it's actually 634. So we're going to take the bottom of the 2. And right now, 634 is the bottom of the 2. So our stop, we're going to go 143, 634, and taking away 5 pips is going to go down to math failing right now, 634. So 34 minus 5, 29. Okay, it's not typing there. Oop, there we go. So this is going to be, we're just going to add the pips here and do that. Same amount of pips for the stop loss and take profit. So that's what it's going to look like when we're entering this market, just easier this way. Now, one thing that I do want to mention that this is going to be automatically canceled today in essentially 4 hours from now, right? 3:40. We have 3 hours, 40 minutes to get this to work. So 3 hours and 40 minutes from now would be 10 o'clock my time. And we're going to go and set that. So that means if this does not execute by that time, this will automatically close. So we don't have to keep looking at it the whole time. All right. I'm going to go ahead and buy that first leg there. There it is. Now, this is something with TradingView and paper trading that you don't have to do this on your end, but on my end, I have to do it this way. So my second leg is actually going to be a little different. It's going to be at 840, mainly because if I don't do it that way, it's actually going to cancel out my trade. All right. So same stop loss. Now for the final target, we're going to go ahead and 150. We're going to go ahead and just put a random number just to have something there. We don't necessarily have to use this because, again, we're going to be trail stopping, and I'm going to explain that. But we just want to have a second leg already be put on. And then same thing, good until 10 a.m. If this doesn't work, then we're going to be, it's going to get canceled. Oh, boy. Sorry about that. I'm not sure why it executed. So 143, 840. Stop loss stays the same, 143, 584. Okay, and this one, like I said, we're just going to have as a placeholder, and we're going to go ahead and buy it. Okay. All right, so that's the second leg. Of course, this is a lot easier if you were to be executing on a live platform versus here. But ultimately, that's what we're trying to get at here is, we have a entry, two-legged entry, right? At 143.81. I have to put it at a different price, otherwise it'll cancel each other out. And we have the stop at the same place here, 584. Our T1 is a 50%. We take 50% off the trade here. So that way, even if price were to do, even if price were to, let's say do something like this, right? We get our T1 triggered. And then even if it were to come all the way down, crashing down, then we still didn't lose anything in this scenario. All right. So, any questions so far? Is it fairly clear, or is it clear as mud? Or any requests to look at any of the charts? Please let me know so that way we can update this as we go. As of right now, though, we do have a trade set up here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this because we need to, keep track of these things. It's extremely important to be able to do that. So USD JPY, and this is the 4-hour setup. go. Clear as mud. Yes. So yes, the it is long because again, the auto climate that we have down below is telling us that we need to be looking for long opportunities because this is blue. When this is a thick blue dot, that means we're looking for long opportunities. So that was our permission. The first permission that we needed is, hey, do we have a permission to look up here? Right? That was the first question that we had to answer. Right? Because ultimately, when you open up charts and you want to trade, and not what I meant to do, when you're looking to trade, right, the first thing that you know want to ask yourself is number one, do I want to trade this? And how do you answer that? Well, you answer that with information that you pull from the charts. And in this scenario, we answer that question is, do we want to trade this instrument? Is it confirmed? Right? Is it giving us a confirmation that we do have a statistical probability of making something work? In this scenario, yes, that is being answered by the autoclimate. The autoclimate says, yes, look for long opportunities. Okay, so, we need to answer that question first. And in this scenario, that answer is even further qualified by giving us an answer by saying, okay, how long do I have? Am I late or am I early to this party? Well, I would say I'm at the tail end of this party, right? Because it's currently on the ninth 4-hour increment up out of typically 9, right? So anything past that, you lose out on probabilities. And then afterwards, the question is, okay, I know I need to be looking for long opportunities, but where do I enter and where do I exit and how do I manage that trade? Okay, so the upper two charts are used to answer the where. Okay, because we have a UFO right here, right? An olive colored UFO that's telling us, hey, there are some unfilled orders left at this location. There are also unfilled orders up here. There's also unfilled orders here. There's also unfilled orders, on the 3 nearest that you're going to see. How do you combine the information, right? How do you marry the information from this lower chart, which is a 4-hour time frame chart, with the information above here on the 15-minute and the 21-minute? Well, the way you do that is by utilizing a common indicator, which is a 9 EMA, or perhaps if you want to, use something else, you're certainly welcome to do so. In my scenario, we're using the 9 exponential moving average, right? Which is also shown here. See, it says 9 EMA, and it's at 778, also shown right here, 778. We're using this 9 EMA, and we need to have it to be enveloped in a UFO. So 778 is around here somewhere, right? So as price approaches, right? So as price, and it's also actually enveloped in this one here, right? This is where the current price of the EMA would be. So therefore, we have 2 overlapping UFOs. So this 9 exponential moving average will be enveloped by 2 UFOs, this one here and this one here. So that means we have the where answered as well. Where are we entering? At the top of this UFO. Where are we exiting? In the white space below these UFOs. Okay. Now, to answer that where exactly, that's why I showed that little notepad file. Because of the decentralized nature of Forex, we need to add a little bit of wiggle room, as we call it. And that wiggle room allows for the proper amount of leeway for that instrument, because different people see the same exact instrument with a slightly small variation. Again, this is small variation. We're not talking massive differences in pips. A small variation of what you're seeing in front of your screen, right? So what I see on Oanda, or you may see different on name any other broker, forex.com or some other broker, maybe in Europe or some other broker in Asia. You may see a different, portion towards the end of the each of the pairs' last price. Okay, so that's why we add that little bit of wiggle room. So as I said, we know what our entry is, right? We know what our stop is. Our T1 is determined by 1-to-1, and we take 50% off because we want to be risk off at this T1 location. Okay, and the T2, we don't have an opposing UFO on this common time frame down here, the 4-hour. Therefore, we're only going to be trailing it. All right, so that's, I would say the process of establishing this trade. That's the process of utilizing the technology that's here in front of us, and making it very, very mechanical when you're looking for trades. As you saw, like I never said, well, I feel like this will go up, or I think this will go up. No, just disconnect from that type of behavior and try to be as mechanical as you can. Could we be looking for, candle formations and, channels and flags and, fib retracements? Sure, you can combine that information with what's given to you by technology. You can certainly do that, go for it, I would say, but just back test the heck out of it and make sure you understand the probabilities of that type of trading. As of right now, though, this is the setup that we're working with. And I just realized this is way up there. But, I think I kind of beat this to a pulp here. And, I definitely wanted to see a couple of trades, perhaps on the crypto end, since we got our first Forex trade in front of us. If you guys have any requests of any pair that you want me to look at or any cryptocurrency you want me to look at, please feel free to type it in the chat. I'm just gonna grab a sip of water here. All right, and we're back. So let's see if we can perhaps find something on the crypto universe. All right, so right here, this is a very, very clear picture of, do we have a trade here, yes or no? Right? Should we keep looking where we're currently looking at right now? Well, the answer to that question lies right here, right at the bottom of this 4-hour chart. Right? This is the 4-hour. This is Bitcoin. And we see that this is a thin blue dot, right? It's not a thick one like these over here. It's a thin blue dot. That means we do not have a trade. This climate is not confirmed. Therefore, probabilities are not in our favor. So what can we do? We can go to the daily, all right, and see where things are looking, or we can go on the hourly, since we're looking for a little bit more short-term intraday trades. And right now we do see that on the hourly, we do in fact have a potential trade, at least a permission to look to the ones above here. Now, something that needs to be mentioned, on the hourly, we bring this down to the 5-minute and the 8-minute. All right, so these are the two increments that we look at when we're looking at the hourly time frame. So the hourly being the common time frame, and the 8 and the 5-minute being our edge time frames, where we look for the potential entries on the UFOs. So as of right now, we see that Bitcoin is on the 4th hourly increment out of typically 5, right? Even though it says 476, we round it up to 5. So that means we have a whole, 2 hours essentially to make this work. The reason why I say 2 hours is we have the remainder of this half hour and then the next hour for the trade to be fully executed. We see that current price on the, the current 9 EMA is as 19,090. Okay. And now we need to see, do we have a potential place where that 19,090 is enveloped by a green or an olive colored UFO? Okay. And in this scenario, this first chart, we see that we do not. 19,090 is already here. Therefore, we have nothing on this chart. However, we do have it here. We do have it or we don't have it. 19,090. Not quite. So it's going to be here. 19,090 is going to be right here. Will, as price comes down, the moving average also comes down, right? So moving average is right here. So if price were to turn, do we think that these will actually meet in this UFO at 19,026? I would say it's fairly close to call. It might not happen. It might happen. Therefore, we're not going to set up a trade, but what we are going to do is we're going to set up a horizontal line around this 1900 19,100 is what I'm trying to say, and then set up an alert. So that way it tells us if this comes close here, and I don't like it to be red. All right. The reason why I want to get an alert is I want to see how close this will be with the moving average, right? So let's say, this kind of just goes a little sideways like that, and then it finally decides to come down. Well, if it's within the time period that we're expecting it to be, then, these may meet at this UFO. But since we don't know at what speed or at what time this will actually come down, we're going to go ahead and set up this alert. So it alerts us and say, hey, take a look at this. You were looking at it earlier that you may have a trade set up here. So I don't want to set up a trade for nothing. I want to get an alert. And when it alerts me, I'll open up the chart and I'll see, okay, this makes sense. The UFO is in fact enveloping the 9 EMA. So this 19,090 has actually dropped down and is now being enveloped inside of this UFO here. All right, so we're anticipating that this happens, and if it does, we need to make sure that this 9 EMA on this 1 hour time frame is in fact enveloped inside of this UFO. So that's what that is going to alert us to. This may be coming close. Take a look and execute on that trade. All right, let's take a look at a similar maybe setup on Ethereum. Okay, Ethereum 1342. Okay, this is actually right on it. So we do have a setup right off the bat here. Let me just double check here something. And we actually have a little bit more time. As you see, we're currently on the 4th hourly candle up out of typically 6. So that's perfect. The moving average at 1342.92. Okay, that's already within this UFO, and that's already within this UFO here as well. So let's go ahead and get this set up. So again, we're going to be buying, and we may need to just buy at a market price here because it's literally, it just touched it right now, 60. So take profit, stop loss. For the stop loss, we're going to go, this is 1334.34 is the bottom of this. Now we do have a bit of a calculation that I'm going to do, but just to get through this trade right now and then set it up, I'm just going to give it another 10 down here. So same thing here, same thing there. We're going to be risking 150 bucks, and we're going to go ahead and hit buy. All right. So we have our T1 and our T2 set up. Now I'm going to do the same thing. 1343. I'm just going to go in a little bit lower so it doesn't cancel out my second leg. 1324, 34. And our final target is going to be the first opposing UFO at 1380. Change this to 150 and buy that. Okay. So that's our trade setup for this one. Now I'm just going to explain it real quick because as you see, like it kissed the UFO and it's already moving away. It's not uncommon to see that. It's great when it happens with us on board. All right, so 2022, 0921, and this is the Ethereum 1 hour setup that we're looking at. Yep, so just double checking that all the parameters are good. Yep, we actually have another UFO down here below, which is great. Additional evidence that there may be unfilled orders. All right, I was just making sure that the UFO will stay there. If it didn't, then it would have invalidated it here. However, we still have this UFO to the left, so therefore this trade is still valid. Now we can we can wait for it here. There's a good chance that a lot of these are in fact moving in a very similar direction to each other. XRP being an outlier here, it is an unconfirmed climate. Therefore, we already know that we should be looking elsewhere. So let's take a look at the 4 hour. Overextended, you see it's currently on the 11th 4 hour increment, right? It's on the 11th 4 hour increment out of typically 5, right? So it's quite a bit overextended. And on the daily, we don't have enough information to get the standard deviation up or down set up yet. So that's why we usually, with crypto, we stick to 4 hour timeframes. Let's take a look at which one of these might be a little. So let's take a look at Axie. Okay, Axie is currently in a down climate actually on the 4 hour, on the second one. And we see that the price is at 1232. We do not have anything at 1232. It's too, actually, I'm sorry, since this is a 4 hour, we have to change this to the, this has to be the 21 minute. And this has to be the 30 minute to see if there's anything at or about 1232. It does not. And as you see, it's currently pushing right up against the 9 exponential moving average. So therefore, we do not have anything to do there. Okay, sand, unconfirmed on the 4 hour. Oops, not what I meant to do. Second out of typically 5. So second confirmed hourly climate out of 5. We don't have a lot of opposition our way. It looks like we might have missed the boat a little bit on this one because it already went to where the setup would have been perfect. As you see, it touched and then it ran. But we still might have a setup. Let's take a look. Let me just adjust these on the 8 and 5 to see if we have something here. All right, so 84.72 is the current moving average. 73 right now, so that's right about here. And as you see, it was already the time to get in on this a little bit ago, but we didn't. Obviously, we Sometimes we'll miss sometimes some of these, and that's fine. Um, Ultimately, though, we do have two UFOs that if price were to come down, it would in fact make sense to take this trade. So the entry would be right here at 84.63. So 84.63. So we're going long. What I don't like is that we're basically, if we're entering long in Ethereum, there's a good chance that, sand is going to go with it. I do like to have, one short, one long, so that way you kind of have exposure to both sides. But sometimes, that's not possible, and that's okay. Let's see if we can get a setup here. So we said at 0.8463 is our entry. Our stop will be 0.8388. Let's see where that's going to take us. The reason why I chose 8388 is because, again, if you put your stop here at 84.43 right below it, you're actually still going to be within this UFO here, right? If you choose this one at 84.11, you're still within this UFO here. So therefore, you got to use this one, which is 83.88. You got to go right below it. The stop has to be in the white space below the entry UFO or the one below it until you get to a white space. So 0.83, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant to do. 0.8463 is the entry. Stop loss 83.88. Now we can give it another, um, 20 cents here at 68. And then we'll do the same thing here. 95 ticks, risking 150 bucks. So let's just double check that 68 is not within a UFO. As a matter of fact, it is. As you see, it's within this UFO now. So we have to keep going lower. 8359. So minus 20 here would be 3. So 8339 is in an empty space here. 8339 is actually within this UFO here. So 0.8336 minus 20 is 26. So it's a little bit ways away. All right, now as far as the time, we do need to understand that this is set up on an hourly. This is on the third hour out of typically 5 that it goes up for. So therefore we have, 2.25 hours left, let's call it. So that means the 21st at let's give it until 9 on the 21st. So go ahead and buy that. That's what that's going to look like. Same thing. Now, again, I just have to 84.63. I'm just going to go in at 84.62. So that way TradingView doesn't cancel it. But if you're entering this live, you can certainly use the same one and it won't cancel. This is just a workaround because that's what TradingView is kind of forcing everybody to do. Okay, and then same setup here. There it is. The final target is, of course, the first opposing UFO on this common time frame down below. All right, now that we've kind of, set up a couple of trades together, any questions that you may have? Any concerns that you'd like to discuss as I take this screenshot? 2022, 0921. This is sand, 1 hour setup. All right. If there aren't any, before I let you guys go, if you could, this is the website that I was referring to earlier in case you came in late. So tradewithufos.com/Bojan. You can book one-on-one coaching with me. This is where you can get these supported platforms. Our software is available on TradingView, NinjaTrader, MetaTrader as well. We also have our very own platform that we utilize, which is a little bit more aimed at the professional trader out there. As you see, it's a little bit more expensive per month. And then, of course, if you have any questions or anything like that, you can certainly join for free, for membership for free, and then ask a question here, and you'll get somebody to answer any one of those questions. As you see, there's 3 pages worth of questions here, so feel free to give it a shot. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found this session helpful and actionable. As you saw, we did set up a couple of trades here. We have 3 different trades. We have, 3 different. Sand, Ethereum, and the yen trade, which are all currently entered into it. They're all tied to a limit as far as how far they'll work. I really thought this Ethereum might even trigger while we're still in the session, but it didn't. As you see, it just touched it and just flew away. It may come back and hit it, which would be great. But as of right now, it would have been great to already be in this trade and, halfway to our T1. But we don't have a crystal ball. We don't always get what we want. Let's put it that way. All right. So if there's no more question, folks, thank you so much for joining me again, and I will catch you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.